Hello and welcome back to Collegian Unfiltered. Today I'm joined by former Penn State men's lacrosse player Grant Ament, who was also recently the number one overall draft pick in the Premier Lacrosse League College Draft. Grant, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Ben.
Again, first off, congratulations on being the first overall draft pick. What was that moment like for you when you found out that you were going number one to the Archers?
Yeah, it was definitely pretty surreal. Luckily, I was able to have both Chris Sabia and Brandon Stern came over to my house for the draft, who were my teammates at Penn State, and then some high school teammates as well. It was really nice to kind of just celebrate with them because I wanted to include them and include my family members in that process because without them I definitely wouldn't be here. So it was definitely a pretty cool moment, and pretty cool to share it with Chris, obviously, because he plays professionally now. He plays for the Water Dogs. So, obviously him and I aren't going to be suiting up together, but, maybe suit up against each other once this year.
Have you and Chris talked about, the first matchup? Are you guys gonna, has there been friendly trash talk going back and forth? What's that moment gonna be like?
Well, both of our T-shirt jerseys are being sold, and I said, "Dude, let's have a competition. Whoever sells more jerseys has to wear the other person's for training camp." But he didn't do it. No, I mean, we're good buddies, and we don't really talk trash off the field or anything like that. On the field, I mean, there have definitely been practices that have gotten heated between him and I, but it's a competitiveness between the two of us. So, looking forward to be able to suit up against him because I know he brings out the best in me, and I'd like to think I bring out a good side in him. So, that's all you can really ask for from a competitor's standpoint.
So when you made your decision to turn pro, you announced it on your Instagram. The amount of positive feedback you got on that post, you had people such as like Paul Rabel comment on your post. What was it like to see that positive reception? Were you nervous at all about the reaction when you made that decision?
Yeah, it was definitely just because I was the first one to announce anything. And so, when we heard that our season was canceled, myself and three other fifth years and Kevin Hill, Tommy Wright, and Brandon Stern, the four of us were kind of on the same page. And the four of us have also had to miss a year due to injury. So we were all kind of on the same page, and we understood right away that was kind of it. But we were okay with our decision because we put a lot into the program. So I was definitely a little bit nervous. Never once second guessed myself. But yeah, having that positive feedback from Paul and some of the guys in the league was definitely pretty cool. But more importantly, just welcoming, because for me, I look at myself, from being a fifth year senior, and one of the leaders of the team to now, I'm bottom of the barrel. So I'm a rookie again. So to be able to, get support from one, the founder of the league, but two, some of the guys that are really, really successful on and off the field. It's very comforting. But I think it's also something that I'm going to be able to learn from, and that hopefully that I remember for 5 years down the line when hopefully another Penn Stater comes out of college and I can take him under my wing.
So as you mentioned, this is going to be your rookie season. It's also going to be kind of a strange season for the Premier Lacrosse League. It's going to be shortened. It's going to be a 14-game group play starting July 25th and followed by a tournament. As this is your first time playing professionally, how are you preparing in anticipation for the shortened season, for the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, it's the format's completely changed from a long season that we play every weekend to now basically just like a 3-week sprint. And so I've got my strength packet. Our strength coach Matt Dorn whipped me up a nice strength and conditioning packet. And the focus for me, one is to continue to keep building strength. I broke my foot this fall, and I'd like to think I'm pretty even at this point in time, but to continue to keep building strength with that. But two, the biggest thing is the buildup of volume and the amount that I'm going to be running. I look at games. We wear the catapult units that track our numbers. And, in one game, I'm running a decent amount of yardage, multiply that by 4 a week, that's something that my body probably has not seen yet. So we're in the process. We're in phase 1 of the process. Just actually started yesterday. And the hope is that, once we get to July 18th, that my legs are ready for, that 3-week sprint. And more importantly, I'm not going to die out in that second week because, I'm going so hard. So it's definitely a tricky balance. And it's something that, I don't think a lot of guys have seen before. I think I have age on my side. Looking at some guys in the league, there are guys in their 30s, and, me coming off my college career, as well as playing at Penn State, right? I mean, I've had access to the best facilities in the country for the past 5 years, and I'd like to think I've used them to my advantage. So in that aspect, I think I'm at somewhat of an advantage, but you're going to really see who's well conditioned throughout the entire tournament.
So looking back at your time at Penn State, what are you going to miss most about Penn State lacrosse-wise, and then what are you going to miss most about Penn State in general?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get asked that a bunch. Lacrosse-wise, obviously I'm going to miss game days and the night games on Panzer. I mean, those are, I think of the Ohio State game last year, get goosebumps thinking about, one side of the field, we are going all the way across the field to the other, Penn State. And so that's definitely one, but I think it's mainly just the process. And, I'm on Zoom with the guys who graduated in 2019, the guys who I came in with. That class, we Zoom just about every week. And at some point in time, it's just a funny story about how somebody threw up in a workout, how somebody, got absolutely bundled in a workout or something like that. Or just like a funny thing coach said, or a funny thing one of us said, those types of moments and the process. That's definitely something that you miss, because looking back on it, like I look back at my freshman year and just some of the stuff that we did, it's funny to think about now. And that kind of stuff they're invaluable to me. So, I mean, there's just so much value to both myself and my teammates. And that's really where we created that bond. And I think we realized that. And that's really, where a lot of our conversations lead to, which always gets a good chuckle out of everybody.
And in your last year at Penn State, the 2019 season, Penn State lacrosse made its deepest run into the postseason that it's ever made, making it to the Final Four. Is that kind of like what you're most proud of, or is there another moment from your career that stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved playing on Lincoln Financial Field. I debated on driving there this past weekend just to drive by, but I couldn't quite do it to myself. So I mean, that's an unbelievable memory, and it's definitely one that I'm very proud of. But I think the biggest thing, and I speak on behalf of the seniors this year and the seniors last year, and even the years before. It's more just the change in culture and the way that we go about things, specifically for our team. We have a very talented squad, but at the same time, it's definitely much deeper than that. And I think, what I'm most proud of is that being a part of that change in culture, and to, obviously be in the conversation and have the expectation to be at championship weekend year in and year out. But I think that the biggest thing that we're proud of is looking how far we came from where we started. I mean, when we started, I think we were 8-6, and lost in the Big Ten semis. Lost a bunch of 1-goal games. Like we were good, but we just didn't have that extra edge, and we needed to find it. And I'm understanding that. With sports, you're only able to do so much in 4 years of playing. And I believe that with what we did, we squeezed just about as much out as we possibly could. And knowing that our job is over on field now it's just to encourage the guys who are still putting that uniform on and trying to, pump their tires as much as we can. Cause, just because I'm not wearing the jersey anymore, doesn't mean I'm not a fan now and not a huge supporter of Penn State lacrosse. Like if they're in the championship next year and they win, I'll be the first one on running on the field with them in celebration. So I think, my mentality shifts a little bit, but at the same time, I'm still, bleeding blue and white just like I used to.
So we are going to now transition into our rapid fire round. Basically, I'm just going to ask Grant here a series of this or that question, and he's going to give me his answer. Does that sound good, Grant?
Sounds good.
All right, so our first question, grilled stickies or creamery ice cream?
Creamery ice cream.
Next question, sheets or Wawa?
Wawa. Got it downstairs. I got it for lunch.
Fictional Penn State alumni, Dwight Schrute or Bruce Banner?
Dwight Schrute.
And then favorite Beaver Stadium snack, chicken basket or pizza cone?
Chicken basket, no doubt.
And then my last question is, the better place to take a photo at, the We Are statue or the Lion Shrine?
Lion Shrine. I'm old-fashioned.
Well, again, Grant Ament will be making his professional debut with the Archers in the Premier Lacrosse League. Their season starts on July 25th. Make sure to follow Grant and the Daily Collegian on all our social media platforms shown on screen. Once again, Grant, thank you for coming on and talking with me. Best of luck to you this upcoming season.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it, man.